Hello, my name is John Solomon with Cyber Club London, or CCL. Cyber Club London is a loose consortium of individual investors, all of whom are chief information security officers, cybersecurity specialists with a lot of experience in various industries or equivalent across the world. And we invest primarily in early and early-ish stage information security startups that we like and we find very promising. This is the latest in our series of videos in our portfolio showcase, where I talk to the companies that we've invested in. Again, these are firms that we really like. They spent a lot of time presenting to us. We settled on them after a long discussion and decision-making process. And so we think these are companies that have a tremendous value and potential, and we also want to help them get the word out. Today, I'm with Rueben Rodriguez from Recolabs. And they're actually one of our earlier investments. And this is a company specializing in XDR for cloud applications. So I want to jump over to Ruben. If you want to give a quick overview of yourself, who you are, what Recolabs is, what you do.
Sure. So thanks for having me, John. And it's a privilege to be here. And, I'm Rueben Rodriguez. I work at Reco.ai, and I'm in the marketing group, specifically product marketing, because Reco has been working very hard to establish itself and come out with some really cool technologies that help companies at the end of the day really identify and protect their SaaS data. And we've been working hard to now find the right fit and niche where we fit and where we think we can help customers the most or prospects the most with all of that SaaS data that's flowing around. You said, there's a lot of different organizations that you work with, and we're again privileged to be able to be one of those folks. And we are where we think we are anyway. Reco.ai thinks we're in the right place at the right time, because in this day and age, and it's been precipitated by so many events that have occurred over the past few years, where there's so many people working dynamically and remotely that they're using so many different SaaS platforms that organizations these days are having a really hard time trying to figure out and understand who's doing what and who's using what and what data is actually flowing through those systems. So we're here to actually try to help people get a little and as much control and visibility around that SaaS data as possible. And that's what our Reco.ai's goal is at this point in time, to help people really get control, visibility, so they can mitigate risks. And then also, as you mentioned, even though nobody likes it, you've got to stay compliant with the various regulations that apply to your data.
So we get a lot of cloud and SaaS security companies, whether it's preventative, on the architecture side, whether it's detection, response, logging, reporting, what have you. There's a lot of dashboard related companies. This is obviously a burgeoning field. And one of our members that I recently spoke to in another recording, said his predictions for the future in the next couple of years are going to be that SaaS and cloud are going to be the growing topics. Buzzword aside, it's just what it is. And so the question is, given this very, very crowded field, what's the secret sauce? Why are you guys great?
Well, it's true. The shift to SaaS cloud. So let's step back a minute. Everyone understands the efficiencies that cloud processing allows for, and that's the infrastructure. That's the baseline, and that's why so many of the different systems and applications now run on cloud. But now you have all of these applications such as Slack or Jira or Salesforce or O365, Google Workspace. All those things are sitting on top of a cloud, but then there's all the data flowing throughout those applications. And that's the foregone conclusion. And I mentioned, that there's been some major events in the world that have driven people to want to use them. But at the end of the day, businesses need to be efficient. They need the collaboration. They need their people to be able to work quickly and easily together, which again, the business is going to drive a lot of what needs to happen, and then security is trying to keep up. That's the name of the game that we've all been playing, whether it used to be on-prem and we wanted to have a moat and secure everything as much as we could. Now we've let everyone go to these SaaS applications, which are fundamentally based and processed in the cloud. And there's providers, as I just mentioned, all those providers provide capabilities and services, but you as an organization ultimately are still responsible for that data and how you secure it. The platforms themselves they have their security protocols and everything in place, but you as a vendor, as an organization that uses these tools, need to be able to secure it. And we're not going backwards. There's no way you can go. The Pandora's box has been opened. So now the shift is, okay, I've got all these employees of mine using these tools, and even they're using tools that I might not even be aware of. There's all these, shadow SaaS apps happening too. and they're just signing up, and then they're sending documents back and forth, and some of that could be highly sensitive. It could be PII, it could be, IP, intellectual property. GitHub is another one that we've recently started working with and sourcing, because you know what's most important to any organization? It's your data and your intellectual property, because that's fundamental, especially in this day and age, as to who you are and what is most valuable to you. So given how that Pandora's box has been opened, organizations need ways then to quickly and easily be able to get information out of them and assess what is truly sensitive and what isn't. And who? Is John accessing something he shouldn't be? Or is he sharing it with Rueben when he shouldn't be? Because that Rueben guy, he's external. He's on an external Slack channel. Why is John sharing, a salaries document with him, or a customer list or something like that? So more often than not, the companies we talk to, they realize this is a problem, but it's not an easy problem for them to address. And they'd rather kind of just push it a little bit to the side, because you know what? As a CISO's involved, and you probably talk with a lot of CISOs, but they've got a top 10 list, and that one currently isn't a problem for them. And they're kind of waiting and hoping it doesn't become a problem. And we all know how that works. It takes one breach. It takes one exposure in the public. And then they're going to be like, wait a minute, where is all that SaaS data? What is it? What's happening? So we're here to help them try to get in control and get in front of that.
Okay, I think back to my previous question. I guess it's a bit of a long question, but why are you special? What makes you great? I mean, I know.
He got that stone.
I'm trying to get you. Yeah. What you presented to us. Obviously, again, we get a lot of companies that talk about similar topics that have similar solutions. I want to hear from you why you guys are special, why you guys are better. We know we have our own logic, but why is it that you guys are the market leader in this area?
So let me just throw up a quick screen to show you how it works. And this is what makes us unique. So we're not going to do a slideware here. It's a conversation to get people interested and to know how we can try to help them, right? So if you see this slide, you're good, right? You see it, John?
Perfectly. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So what makes Reco unique and how we help customers do what I've been talking about, address the problems they have, is in the center of what we do have an intelligence graph, which is a fancy way to say there's a lot of AI behind the scenes. But what makes us unique and what helps us give our customers a step up here is you have a lot of these different tools in place. A lot of that data is unstructured. That's why a lot of CISOs are like, wait a minute, I don't want to deal with it. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of work. But you need an automated way to do that. We let them in. We actually connect to those sources in minutes. We then let that information come in without having to necessarily interrogate every aspect of the file. We use a lot of metadata there. And we take the metadata surrounding all of those files within those different systems, along with the user information. So you really have both sides of the story here. So then as an organization, you can literally in minutes be able to map and classify all of that data that otherwise you were somewhat just ignoring and letting it stay to the side, and identify what's truly sensitive. But then you apply the business context around it to be like, you know what Rueben and John are doing on a daily basis and sharing these sensitive files that have been updated or been identified now, that's part of their normal business job. We're not going to prevent that from happening. We want that to keep going. But then Rueben, you know what? He's no longer going to stay with Reco. He's a leaving employee. We want to make sure we're monitoring and managing all that information that he's processing. So what makes us really unique, John, is ability to consume hundreds, if not thousands, but millions of files quickly and easily and in near real time. We'll let you, company, CISO, but your IT team, your security team, understand and assess what particular behaviors Ruben's doing with the files he's accessing to then remediate and take action if necessary and protect the organization and its data. So that's what really makes us unique. Some companies just do the data side. Some companies just do the user side, but they don't really assess and have the both together and tie the interactions together to allow for the right business decisions to occur or security decisions to occur. That's what makes us unique.
Excellent. Thank you. So I think, especially given, topics like GDPR in the EU and CCPA in California, and also increasing regulations such as NIS2 DORA, but also the increasing requirements put forward by cybersecurity risk insurers. A lot of companies are going to be faced with a growing need to inventorize. Is that a word even? Inventory, I guess.
Yeah.
Classify, control, protect various sources of data, and that's often to reconcile with the often organic and sometimes chaotic, go to cloud process that especially mid-sized and smaller companies have experienced in the last couple of years. So there's some obviously incredibly strong potential there. So I think the last question to wrap this one up is what's next? Where are you guys going?
Well, we are working very hard to launch this out into the market and get into the right segments, as you say. We're working on developing additional capabilities that allow organizations, whether they be small all the way to large, to really control their own policies and how data is being controlled and mapped within their own structures, because it is different from company to company, and they want to have that capability. And that's just from and adding additional sources. I listed out a bunch of different, SaaS platforms, but we keep adding those. And then the other thing too, we realize is we talk more and more with organizations. They want to use the existing tools they have in place, the existing workflows they have in place to remediate these things. So we do find a lot of things, and they're like, well, I already have a SOAR, I already have a SIM, or I have, automation tools in place that we want to use to make that happen automatically. So good job, Reco, finding all that stuff. But let's just use what we already have. So we're continually working closely with our customers to make sure that happens. And then, you know what? Help everyone we can across the world secure their SaaS data.
We want you to take over the world, except for the other companies that we. That's so.
Take over the world. I said help those companies.
Thank you very much, Rueben. So please do have a look at Reco's page at Reco.ai. Please also don't forget to visit Cyberclub's website at cyberclub.london and our YouTube channel at Cyberclub London. I want to thank you very much for this short conversation. I wish you guys the very, very best of luck. Obviously, we have a strong interest in your success. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment on the video. And I'll also put links to your LinkedIn profiles and any other information that you'd like to share. Wish you all the best. And thanks again for joining.
Thanks, Sean.